How do you think government can, manage this perception? Some people, first of all, in the financial sector, some people believe that the autonomy of the central bank, admittedly very powerful, was done that way for a certain reason, and that it would seem that it has been tampered with. What's your take on that, first of all?
The autonomy of central bank does not mean absolute autonomy. Just like the autonomy of the tires of your car, they are subject to dirigibility control of the steering wheel. You understand? But they are free when they are unleashed on the road to move. But when you need to get them control, power is nothing unless there's control. So if there is a misinterpretation of the autonomy, which should have been instrument autonomy per se, to mean complete autonomy, that means you are running a state in a state, then that is a very wrong. And you see, even the way the CBN, the suspended CBN governor come across, you could see that it's like he's challenging the president to a duel. And we know, proverbially, what happened to the bird that challenged its God to a duel. Because its God was there before himself, small God in the sense of village philosophy. So what we are saying is, the man who appointed you, by whatever contrivance or concatenation of fate, you are there now by his grace. Somebody may have nominated you and prevailed on him to give life to the process of appointing you, even if it is to be ratified by somebody else. Okay? If you have not been nominated, you won't be there.
Are we talking
Good sense.
Sorry to interrupt that thought, but are we talking about the office? Because we must remember that he was appointed before this administration took office. Now,
it doesn't matter. We are talking about presidency.
Okay.
Yes, the office is presidency.
I want that.
Just as we are talking about the CBN governor is an institution. It's not Sanusi per se. So when we are talking about autonomy of the CBN, it is not what is given to Sanusi, though that when he's going home, he takes it home. You understand? The issue of autonomy, it was even canvassed most, querulously under Soludo. You understand? So the problem that is now on ground is perhaps a misperception of the power quotient. Okay? You may, in fact, power is best and most eloquently exercised when it is done with some kind of humility. If you know that you have the power of life and death over somebody and choose life, you'll be respected more than when you unleash death. People may not do anything to you, but the perception of you will be very low in the public space.
How do you then explain all of this in the light of the way the markets have responded to this?
This thing is like a shock, So when you see an obstacle on the way, you suddenly apply brake. Even both yourself who apply the brake and the car that is being restrained from movement will absorb some shock until you non-stabilize.
If that obstacle or impediment is unexpected, completely strange to the whole thing, if you've always been there as checks and balances, they would have responded normally.
Yes, yes, because you see, even if you have an 80-year-old or 90-year-old person who is so seriously ill, and you have been going to work and coming back and meeting the person and saying sorry, it is usually not so clear to you that he might die tomorrow, even though you know that death is a reality. So that is why when the person now dies, you start suddenly complaining or start crying, oh, this and that, So there is that element of surprise each time. Even the armed robber who knows that the difficult thing he's going to embark on involves life and death gets surprised when he's shot or caught. Then he looks for Satan to explain it away.
What do you see playing out in the next couple of days? I mean, aside the CBN government.
It's unfortunate that the debate will be on the timing, rather than on whether the president could. Because what the president has done is to avoid going to the Senate and all the mood of the National Assembly now and the mood of the nation. So the best thing he did was just like in employment. Okay, somebody might say, okay, if I remove this guy now, it may be wrongful termination of employment. But the law does not challenge you when you frustrate employment, because it is fundamental duty of the employer to provide work, while the other guy that is employee to provide his, use his skill to exercise. Well, if they remove the work, you come to office, they'll pay you your salary. At a stage, you'll be the one to resign.
There's also the element, sorry, Chamberlain, of the, what is happening as raised by the National Assembly members, the ongoing investigation right now. What do you think will become of that? Because some of the things that have been raised are also, against the CBN governor and his office, are also the issues out there in the public. How do you think this should be managed?
First, by suspending Sanusi, it does not preclude the National Assembly inviting him to still throw more light or answer any question. In fact, it perhaps gives him more latitude, even if it is even now embroiled in some kind of emotions. You understand? But it is good for the polity, because if two armed robbers did not have disagreement, nobody will know the extent of damage they had either unleashed or still planned to. Do you understand what I mean? So what is happening now is part of the contradiction we talked about when we were talking about the Hegelian principle. Now, it's the synthesis that is now forming another thesis. It is that way that the society progresses. Okay? If you have the CBN governor or the suspended CBN go to court now, the government will defend itself. So if it has more damaging evidence against him, in order to justify what it did, it will bring it.
And how will the political parties handle all of this?
Sorry?
The political parties.
The politics of it, if they have people who will handle it, that is, I'm not a member of any of these political parties. It's their business to manage their affairs. What we're interested in is, if Sanusi goes to court, as a lawyer, I will encourage him to go to court, because it will enrich our jurisprudence. You understand? So we now know at least what difference it is, not grammatically this time, but legally, between suspension and removal.
All right.
And it is important to quickly point out that crime, fraud, and criminality, the liability is with the person who committed it. It's not the office.
Okay.
It's not right to say that if CBN governor did anything, his successor will be proceeded against. That is not the law.
Okay. Chairman Nnaji is a legal practitioner and a professional in politics. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.